No, really. Quick warning, I sound like a bit of a robot in this video, I'm just trying to hide my excitement. Also, I recorded all of this at like 4 AM. I know from that title a lot of you will think I'm crazy. Understandably, but I have a lot of evidence that shows that Thorpe Park could be getting an RMC very, very soon. For some context, we've been seeing Merlin's lead creative designer, John Burton, get more involved with the enthusiasts in the community. For example, last year we saw a Q&A from the Merlin Backstage YouTube channel, which leads to our first bit of evidence. Back in one of the Q&As with John Burton last year, he held up a cup with the RMC logo on it. Now, whilst this wasn't empty tease for Project Horizon at Alton Towers, this does show that Merlin Entertainments could be in contact with RMC.
So, a lot of you have asked, when will we see an RMC design at a park? Can we cut the camera? We can't be talking about anything potentially on the horizon.
Whilst yes, this video is about Thorpe Park, John Burton did say Beyond the Horizon, which could be linking to Project Horizon at Alton Towers being a potential indoor RMC. This could show that both parks would be getting a ride from the same manufacturer, just like they did with Nemesis and Nemesis Inferno. A lot of park chains do this to keep their parks as similar as possible. To go with this, in a more recent Q&A with John Burton, he was seen sipping from a cup similar to this one.
So you asked, will Merlin ever top Hyperia? Well, you never know what's around the corner.
If we take a closer look at the question he was answering, will anything ever top Hyperia? If I'm being completely honest, the only coaster model that could really top Hyperia is anything from RMC. With the mug being covered by a sticker that says nothing to see here, it could be referring at the island behind Swarm. Now, even on its own, this island is absolutely huge, but Merlin could take the route the original owners of Thorpe Park intended to, ironically having the initials RMC. The small body of water behind Swarm Island and Island A, the name given to the island behind Swarm, has slowly been filled in over the years as seen on Google Earth. This was open up a huge area for future expansions of the park. This area could slowly become even larger as of the 2025 season, with the suspected closing of Rumba Rapids next year. After seeing this listed on the planned closures on the Thorpe Park app, some people suspected that Rumba Rapids may have been closed permanently, but Thorpe Park quickly shut this down. But as stated in this article, the same thing may happen as what happened to Loggers Leap in 2019. If Rumba Rapids does actually end up closing, this would make space for an absolutely huge attraction to span the entire back of the park. And I know that there have been a lot of statements going around that there are protected species on the back of Swarm Island, but a lot of evidence now suggests that this area may be suitable for development. Previous talks from a few years ago also show that this could complete the areas of the park that Swarm and Stealth currently sit in. Plans were teased at that could have shown a bridge from the Sunken Gardens over to the back of Swarm Island to complete the circuit and make it so you don't have to walk all the way around Amity Beach to get to the Swarm. On to another piece of evidence. A lot of people could say this was faked and maybe staged by an enthusiast. However, it's in a part of the park where if a guest got to it, it would have taken too long for them to do and they would have been ejected from the park. It's of course the infamous RMC 2020 carved into a tree in Colossus's queue line. And yes, 2020 has already passed, but John Burton hinted at ride concepts being reused in the future, and the reason I say reused is because Hyperia could have been an RMC. If you look closer at this carving, it looks like it could say 2024, Hyperia's opening year. And the reason I say Hyperia could have been an RMC is because John Burton said there could have been a 500-foot tall coaster in its place, and the only model that realistically could be 500 feet tall is an RMC T-Rex. With that carving into the tree first being discovered in 2019, it does show that that could potentially be hinting to Hyperia, as John Burton stated that Hyperia took over 4 years to design, meaning the original idea for a ride in that area could have been even earlier. This more recent image of the carving in Colossus's queue line also shows that they could have been trying to change it. If they were trying to cover it up, they would have covered it up with something rather than trying to repaint it and reprofile the letters. Do you think this could say 2027? I mean, personally, I've got no clue, but I would like to see what you guys think.
A question I always get asked about the design Hyperia is, how long did it take? It took 4 years and 5,300 man-hours to assemble 92 pieces of track. You asked, was there ever a consideration to make Hyperia even taller? Well, Hyperia sits at 236 feet, our UK's tallest roller coaster. And when we first began, we looked at rides over 500 feet tall.
And again, when he said ride ideas are never wasted.
Sometimes the magic makers and myself, we're dreaming up new ideas all the time, regardless of a brief or a budget. And no idea is ever wasted.
Now with all the evidence knocked out of the way, let's get on to the ride speculation. My current main theory is that there will be an RMC T-Rex spreading from the back of Swarm Island over to Rumba Rapids side. This is mainly because John Burton said around the corner in that teaser, and Rumba Rapids is around the corner from the back of Swarm Island, and a coaster potentially going up to that height would need all the space possible. RMC recently released a teaser saying, "Did you honestly think we weren't listening?" with capital letters spelling soon. This could potentially be talking about Thorpe Park, as they are a worldwide park and RMC is branching off into different countries, especially in Europe. This ride could be easily marketable as the tallest single rail coaster ever built, and I think it would be very accessible to the GP despite it potentially having very wild RMC-like elements and insane height. But I do still see this happening despite the sheer magnitude of the ride model, mainly since, as seen with Hyperia, Thorpe Park is branching off into being more of a roller coaster park, but I do see this bringing in more money to the park as it's what the people love. In terms of what elements we could see on the ride, I do see this being longer than Hyperia relative to its height, but I do think the main focal point of this attraction would be some brand new elements, perhaps like what's seen on this official No Limits 2 layout by RMC from This Is How We Roll by Coaster Studios. However, this could end up being another model from RMC. When John Burton said this could potentially top Hyperia, he may have also meant this from an enthusiast standpoint rather than a height standpoint. This means we could be seeing some form of RMC iBox coaster atop a track, or a Raptor, potentially even a dueling Raptor. A dueling Raptor also could be a good way to go for the park, as it could intertwine a family thrill side and a full thrilling side like what is likely going to be seen on the new Wallaby Holland roller coasters. This route could also potentially be more well themed and well marketed, as it would be accessible to all ages and could also be marketed as the UK's first dueling coaster. Again, this could also be a more likely concept due to the fact that Thorpe Park does need a more family-orientated coaster. And on the topic of rides potentially available to all ages, RMC could potentially be developing a train similar to the ones seen on their Wild Moose concept. These trains could potentially sport a height restriction as low as 1.2 metres and could even be developed to be placed on their iBox or Topper track coasters. This could potentially go with John Burton's theory that they never waste an idea, as one of the original ride models for Hyperia was a GCI wooden coaster. These plans show that it would have been in the place for Hyperia, and also shows us that Thorpe Park could be looking at a more wooden style attraction. Either way, I think the layout style for this coaster will be one that stretches around the back of a themed area, with a good example being Hyperia itself. And for the actual theme of the attraction, I could see them going with a jungle similar to that of Rumba Rapids to extend the theme of Mr. Monkey's banana ride. That was a joke. But it could extend the legacy of the once very popular Rumba Rapids, similar to how Hyperia's final airtime hill is in the same spot as Logger's Leap Drop. Either way, I would be very supportive of whatever John Burton and the rest of the Merlin magic making team come up with. Another reason I'm pretty sure this coaster would be an RMC is because John Burton likes to take a lot of creative liberty with his coasters. This is mainly seen before with the World of Jumanji at Chessington World of Adventures, with Mandrill Mayhem, which is the world's first shuttle B&M launched wing coaster. What does that even mean? Bro, I'm trying to record a video here. Please stop purring. Yeah, but overall, I do really feel like John Burton would love to design an RMC of any kind, as every single one of their models are capable of going through very extreme elements, and especially ones we've never seen before. I could also see them using a launch on this coaster to increase capacity and keep up with the operations already amazing at Thorpe Park, much like Lightning Rod at Dollywood. Anyways, this has been a very speculation heavy video, and if you enjoyed it, please make sure to subscribe. I really appreciate all the support, and I put in days of effort to research all the evidence in this video. I also want to give credits to Lillian Theme Parks, JB Coaster, and the Thorpe Park Mania forums for some of their content I've used in this video. So yeah, all we can do now is hope and pray for Rumba's Revenge 2027.